My name is Maya. I'm 26 and I work as an auctioneer's assistant at Blackwell Auction House. Assistant is a generous title. Really, I'm a glorified goopy. I catalog items, write their descriptions, set up previews, but I love it as a gig. It's not a glamorous gig, but I get around painting ceramics antiques every day, and that's enough for me. Blackwell's isn't a big name in the industry, but Mr. Blackwell knows how to play the game. He's been in the business for over 20 years, has connections everywhere, and keeps the business afloat. I've been here 2 years and learned a ton: how to authenticate paintings, how to appraise pieces, how to negotiate with clients. But what I admire most about Mr. Blackwood is his knack for getting top dollar.
An auction house doesn't sell objects, it sells stories. Tell a good story and the price follows.
I used to think he was right. Until one day, while organizing the storage room, I stumbled across a painting. It was an oil painting of a woman sitting by a window, sunlight streaming in, catching her profile, soft and lonely. The brushwork was delicate yet bold, the colors layered and rich. I stood there for a long time. Unknown woman, no name at all, but how could this painting be worth only $80,000? I started digging into unknown woman. The files yellowed with age. I spent the whole afternoon searching and finally found a folder. Inside were a few appraisal reports, some photos, and a letter. But on the last page I noticed something off. The stamp was from Veritas Art Appraisal Center. That painting, I'd seen it somewhere before. In college, I'd taken a course on contemporary women's art history. Professor Lawrence once showed us a documentary about a forgotten female painter from the 1980s, Serena Ashford. She painted her entire life, unknown in her time, forgotten after she died.
Could this be a Serena Ashford?
I went home and dug out my old college notes. I remember a book from the library. It had a whole chapter on Serena Ashford. I flipped to that chapter and saw a blurry black and white photo. The composition was almost identical. The caption read, "Serena Ashford, by the window, 1990 of Archer Mark." That painting was worth millions. Mr. Blacktail was selling it for $80,000 as an unknown. The next day at work, while Mr. Blacknell was out, I went to the storage room and took photos of the painting and the appraisal report with my phone. After work, I found Professor Lawrence, contact Ido, and sent him the photos. He's a leading expert on women's art history.
Maya, where did you see this painting?
In our storage room. Professor Lawrence, is this a Serena Ashford?
I can't say with absolute certainty, but I'm 90% sure. Look at the bottom right corner. See that tiny Ashford marked every single piece?
As I zoomed in, there it was, in the interplay of light and shadow at the bottom right corner, a faint orchids. Yes, Professor Lawrence, it's there!
Maya, that painting is worth at least $5 million. Serena Ashford is one of the most underrated in the history of the modern art market.
My hand was trembling around the phone. $5 million. Mr. Blackwell's expert had appraised it at $80,000.
$5 million is already a conservative estimate.
He was going to sell it privately through a true sale, had X'd at $80,000. That's not business, that's collusion. They were exploiting a dead woman no one remembered. I started investigating quietly. Going through the storage room logs, I found something. This unknown woman had already been reserved. The buyer was a collector named Edward Stone. He was one of Mr. Blacknell's procedures. Every piece should go through public preview, expert review, and open bidding. But this piece wasn't scheduled for auction at all. It went straight into storage, tagged as directed client, meaning no public sale, just a private deal, pre-selected buyer. Directed client is a gray area term in the industry. It can be used legitimately, but it's also convenient for fraud. Her work had been exhibited a few times with decent reception, but she never played the market game. She married, had a child, and gradually faded from the art scene. At 45, she died of illness, leaving behind over 100 paintings. Most of those paintings were kept by her daughter, Nina Ashford. Nina was only 15 when her mother died. She left the country for school and rarely returned. I sent her an email with the photo online and eventually tracked down Nina's email. 3 days later, Nina replied, "That's my mother's painting. How did it end up with you?" I called her. Her voice was young but tired. Nina said that after her mother's death, she kept most of the paintings, but several were taken by an art dealer while her mother was still alive. That dealer had since passed away, and the paintings had vanished into thin air. Nina, this painting is being appraised at $80,000 for a private sale, but my professor says it's worth at least $5 million. Maya, thank you for telling me this, but I'm overseas right now and can't come back. Can you help stop the sale? I'll try, but I'm just an assistant. I don't have any real authority. You need to come back and claim your rights as the legal heir. Okay. I'll arrange to come as soon as I can. After I hung up, I stood by the window, looking out at the city skyline, a heavy weight in my chest. That painting was just like Serena Ashford herself, forgotten, undervalued, treated like worthless trash. I couldn't let that happen. A week later, Mr. Blackwood scheduled a meeting with Stone to sign the deal. That afternoon I hovered in the break room, pretending to drink water, ears wide open. I saw Edwin walk into Mr. Blackwood's office with a briefcase. About half an hour later he came out. Mr. Blackwood walked him to the door and they shook hands.
Next time you get something good, call me.
Don't worry. There's plenty more where that came from.
The painting was sold. $80,000. A painting worth at least $5 million, treated like scrap. I stood in the hallway, fists clenched, nails digging into my palms. That night I couldn't sleep. I looked up Edward Stone online. He was a local real estate developer with a sizable art collection, but he never bought at public auctions. He always got his pieces through directed sales from people like Mr. High on the Slav. Neither of them truly money argued. He was Mr. Blacknell with proper mending, but he just foresaw his merchandising gap, and the arted Stone made his nothing more off the timing gap. I couldn't let this slide. I had to do something.
Nina came back. The moment I saw her at the door of Blackwell Auction House, I recognized her. We sat in the cafes downstairs and I told her everything. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time.
Over 20 years she left and her paints have mistreated. I can't just let this go.
Nina, what do you want to do?
I want the painting back. By law, it belongs to me. My mother was the creator and I'm her heir. Edward Stone bought it without knowing its real value. That's an unconsubstantiable transaction. It can be voided.
I know with lies and art disputes and help you get in touch.
Maya, why are you helping me? Aren't you afraid of losing your job?
I'm not afraid anymore. Nina's lawyer sent legal orders to both Blackwell Auction House and Edward Stone. Mr. Blackwell was furious. Mr. Blackmail called me into his office and shut the door.
Maya, what the hell are you doing? Do you realize you're destroying my business?
Mr. Blackmail, I'm not trying to destroy anything. I just want that painting to sell for what it's worth. Serena Ashford's work is worth $5 million internationally.
She's an unknown. He knows to afraid he's fab. That isn't right.
I've already had Professor Lawrence do a new appraisal. You can see for yourself. I handed him the report. He didn't even glance at it, just tossed it on the desk.
Maya, you're fired. Leave now. I'll pay you for this month, but I'm warning you. If you say a word about this outside, I'll make sure you never work in this industry again.
Mr. Blackwell, I won't say anything inappropriate. I'll just tell the truth. My hands were shoved out behind me, but I heard the crash of a glass hitting the wall. The results came back. Serena Ashford, by the window, 1992, excellent condition, extreme high artistic value. Market estimate 3.3 pool. Nina sent the reporter to Edward Stone. When he saw it, he with $5 million. He reached out to Nina and offered to return it but demanded that she compensate his losses. By law, an uncontinuous contract can be voided. You haven't lost anything because my mother is the legal copyright holder.
Fine. See you in court.
In the end, Edward Stone didn't file. He knew he didn't have a leg to stand on. The painting was returned to me. After word got out, several auction houses contacted Nina about handling the sale. She turned them all down. I only trust Maya, she told me. Nina consigned the painting to me, not to Black, but to me. She wanted me to hold the gavel as an independent auctioneer.
Nina, I don't have an auction house, no venue, no coast to auction it.
You don't need musical platforms now. Just register as a seller, upload the listing, and promote it through your leaving work.
I believe it at space.
Chance to let Sarek and Ashford's trusting is valuing you per be by the market. I spent 3 days setting up a seller account on the largest online art auction platform. Reverse rads for the listing, covering Serena Ashford's life, her artist's background, its place in art history. Then I sent the link to my professor, to everyone I knew in the art world, to journalists. Starting bid $500,000. The day the auction went live, I sat glued to my computer, heart racing. Half an hour in, no bids. An hour, still nothing. My palms started to sweat. Had I overestimated this? Was Serena Ashford truly unknown? 2 hours later, the first bid came in. And $650,000, $700,000, $800,000, $100,000. The numbers jumped on the screen like heartbeats. My hand on the mouse was trembling. 1 million, already more than Mr. Blackett's estimate. 1.2 million, 1.5 million, $1.8 million, $2 million. Every time the number climbed, my heart climbed with it. Still far from 5 million, 3 million, but nearly 30 times the $80,000 appraisal.
I felt a pang of dissatisfaction.
My Emma, 2.3 million is enough, more than I ever expected.
Nina, I think it could go higher.
You did your best, thank you.
After I hung up, I stared at the number on the screen. That painting deserved more than 2.3 million.
Scrolling through the bidding history, I noticed one bidder had dropped out at the last second. Who was it? Why didn't they keep going? I looked up the bidder, a well-known collector named Mr. Hunter. I mustered the courage to send him a private message, asking why he'd dropped out. He replied, I loved the painting, but I wanted to know who the paddle. Maya, your listing showed me a young woman's sincerity. I'd like to be your friend. Later, Mr. Hunter bought the painting for 2.3 million. He sent me a message, you put real thought into it. I forwarded his message to Nina. She replied with 2 words, thank you. That painting sold for 0.3 million. Not 5 million, but Serena Ashford's name had reached a lot of people.
How did you discover the painting's value? I didn't discover it. The painting spoke for itself. It's just that no one was listening before.
Nina used part of the auction proceeds to establish a fund. It supports talented female artists overlooked by the market. She asked me to be the fund's advisor.
Nina, I'm not qualified to be an advisor. I don't know how to judge artistic value.
You do. You know how to see what others overlooked. That's the greatest qualification there is. I started meeting young women artists, some fresh out of art school, some painting for over a decade without recognition, some who'd given up after marriage and children and were now picking their brushes again. Then one of Grant had stories to tell. Every one of them was holding on. She painted first stray animals in the city, wild brushwork, bold colors, but nobody bought her work. She lived in a rented room in an artist neighborhood, working during the day, painting at night. Her apartment was piled high with canvases, nowhere to put them. I used the fund to organize a small solo show for her. Tiny space, fewer than 50 visitors, but one of them bought—
This is the first time I've ever sold a painting.
It'll happen more and more from now on. I made a decision. I was going to open my own auction house. Not a big all-inclusive auction house, one dedicated exclusively to women artists. Only their paintings, only their stories. I wanted to give those forgotten, overlooked, undervalued women of their own. I support you. How much do you need? I don't know. I've never started a company.
Write a business plan first. I'll help you find investors.
I spent a month writing a business plan, market analysis, target clients, operations model, financial projections, risk assessment.
Good enough.
She found me 2 investors, both women. One ran a fashion brand, the other a tech company.
We're not investing in your business, we're investing in your vision.
Vision. I hadn't heard that word in a long time. But the startup capital still wasn't enough. Rent, renovations, equipment, payroll. I needed at least $1 million. With the investors and Nina's contribution, I was still $300,000 short. I thought about the paddle just like when I'd raised it for Serena Ashford's painting.
Use the Serena Ashford painting as your new auction house's first lot, auction it publicly. Use the proceeds to launch your business.
But Mr. Hunter already bought it.
Mr. Hunter is willing to lend it back. He said he believes in your eye, and he supports the idea of a platform for women artists. Mr. Hunter lent us the painting. We decided to hold a dedicated auction on an online platform with the start bid exactly what Mr. Hunter had paid. If it didn't sell, if it did, the premium would be the seed money for HerArt. I barely slept for 3 days during that auction. On the final day, the price climbed from $2.3 million all the way to $3 million. Buyer was an anonymous woman collector. She sent me a message. Maya, I raised my Pamel for your vision. $3 million. After paying Baxter Hunter's $2.3 million, we had $700 left. It was enough. I held my phone and cried in my empty rented room. The auction house was called HerArt. The space was simple, white walls, wood floors, good lighting. The gallery was small, only enough room for 20 or 30 paintings at a time, but every corner was thoughtfully designed. Beside each painting was a QR code and you'd find the artist biography, the story behind the piece, and a personal message from her to the viewer. I wanted every painting to have a protagonist who was no longer unknown woman. They had names, stories, dreams. Opening day, a lot of people came. Nina, Professor Lawrence, Amy, everyone who'd helped me along the way.
Someone stood in front of that painting for a long time, then bought it. Amy cried again, this time louder.
Maya, look, they're glowing.
In our first month, we sold 11 paintings. Not a lot, but every single one was by a woman artist. Our buyers included young girls, middle-aged women, and grandmothers. They said, I wanted a painting by a woman artistess to hang at home.
Looks like the flowers I grew when I was young.
I told her the artist's story. Her eyes grew moist.
You're doing a wonderful thing, dear. I used to love painting too. Then I got married and never painted again.
Grandma, you could start again.
My hands shake too much now, but looking at your paintings brings me joy.
I held her hand. That month I made just enough to cover the rent, break even, but I felt 100 times happier than I ever did at Blackwell's. By the third month, trouble arrived. 2 months straight, not a single painting sold. Rent was due, Mia's salary needed paying, artist commissions were pending, the balance was shrinking daily. Every morning I woke up with numbers already racing through my head.
Maya, should we lower our prices or bring in more commercial pieces?
No, our paintings are worth the price. We just haven't found the right buyers yet.
But doubts gnawed at me. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the market for women artists wasn't really that big. Maybe this was just wishful thinking.
Maya, have you ever thought that maybe your vision is too big?
Nina, have you lost faith too? I still believe, but I'm afraid you won't survive.
That night, I sat alone in the gallery, looking at the paintings on the soft light, as if saying, Maya, they gazed in a clues was Goose when she sold her first paintings, Lucy falsely accused, if I did, we couldn't give up. The next day, I made a decision. Not to sell, just to let people see.
After we went free, visitors increased. People posted little gallery hidden in an office building has one month. Slowly, people, is this for sale? We didn't push, just pointed them to the QR codes. Let the end their artist story your FMA came in. A company wanted me than $500,000. My hands were shaking as I signed the contract.
Maya, we made it.
It's not that we made it. It's that people finally saw us.
Maya, I can pay my rent now.
I laughed and cried at the same time.
In the first year, HerArt auctioned over 300 works with a 65% sell-through rate. Not a record, but better than many established houses. More importantly, the women artists got paid what they deserved. Some used the money for rent, others for new paints. One even paid for her mother's medical treatment. I pinned it to my desk. Year 2, a forgery scandal. A collector accused us of selling a fake. The painting's creator was an elderly artist who already passed away. The daughter had consigned you. The collector claimed otherwise. I brought in experts, but their opinions clashed. Some said authentic, some said fake. The collector demanded a $100 or $1,000. Refitting it would bankrupt us. Fighting the lawsuit would be even worse. I couldn't sleep night after night, clumps of hair falling out.
Maya, don't worry. I'll find a way.
She tracked down a former student of the artist who still had a photo from the year the painting was created, the work hanging in the studio, a period calendar in the background. The photo's date matched the painting's signature.
I was wrong. I'm sorry.
I exhaled with relief. But I realized our auction house needed stricter authentication procedures. From then on, we had at least 2 experts independently authenticate every piece, with full documentation available for anyone to review.
It's about being responsible, it isn't about selling story. She said it's her duty. I think she's like a knight, protecting all of us.
At the end of year 2, we held our first live women's auction, offline, in person. We rented a hall at a museum, hung over 60 paintings. Over collectors, art lovers, media. Before the auction, I stood on stage, looked out at the faces below, and took a deep breath. Welcome to HerArt's Women Artist Auction.
Every painting here today is by a women artist. They come from different places, different ages, different backgrounds, but they share one thing. They use their brushes to express auctioning paintings. We're auctioning their dreams, their perseverance, their unseen efforts. I hope everyone isn't just a buyer, but a companion on their artistic journey. The gov dropped, and the first painting went up, starting at $5,000, climbing to $30,000. Sold. That day, we sold over 40 paintings, total 1.2 million, far better than expected. Amy's painting sold for $80,000, 10 times what she used to make in a year.
Maya, am I dreaming?
You're not dreaming. You deserve this.
Maya, I want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
I want to donate $20,000 to an animal rescue shelter. I paint stray cats. I want to help them.
Okay, I'll take care of it. I connected her with a local rescue shelter and made the donation.
The shelter volunteer held Amy's hand and said, "Thank you, dear. The cats in your paintings, they look just like with the ones here." Amy cried again. Amy's diary. I sold my painting for $80K to stray cats, the said 20 warmth. I love that word, warmth. In year 3, HerArt moved beyond the screen. We opened locations in several major cities, not stores, but partner spaces. We partnered with local museums, cafes, and bookstores, displaying paintings in their spaces while auctioning them online. This saved on rent and brought the art to more people. Our partner spaces spread across New York, Los Angeles, London, Paris, and Milan. In every city, local women entrepreneurs joined us in championing women's art. There was one artist I want to tell you about, Fiona. She was in her 40s, and she'd stopped painting after she got married. Her husband called it a waste of time. Her kids asked, what's the point? She hid her brushes for 15 years. One day, she saw an article about her art and tracked me down. She sent photos of her old paintings, work from 15 years ago. I was stunned. Her paintings had soul, free brushstrokes, bold color choices, nothing like an amateur's work.
Fiona, are you still painting?
No. No space. No audience.
Please paint again. I want to auction your work.
Maya, I'm afraid I can't paint anymore. It's been 15 years.
How will you know if you don't try?
3 months later, Fiona sent her first new painting, a field of sunflowers golden facing the sun. Her letter said, Maya, thank you for making me pick up my brush again. This brush is a gift from you. That painting sold for $30,000. Fiona said it was the first time she'd ever made money. Not about the amount, it was her work finally being recognized. Fiona's husband came too. On auction day, he stood in the audience, watching his wife's painting get bid on. His expression was complicated.
I didn't understand you before.
Fiona cried. 15 years of suppressed frustration, all turning into tears in that moment.
I'll support you.
Fiona held him tight. Watching them, I cried too. I thought of something. Being seen isn't just about the work. It's about the creator being seen as a whole person. Her struggle, her one of our signed artists' talent producing new work every year. Her style kept evolving, getting better and better. Someone called her a late bloomer. She said, I didn't bloom late, I was just woken up by Maya. In year 4, we started a public lecture series on women's art history, monthly sessions with scholars, curators, and artists discussing the women who'd been forgotten, overlooked, undervalued. First session, 80 people. Second, over 100. Third, 150. Many young people came, especially girls. They said, I had no idea there were so many amazing women artists. After one lecture, a teenage girl took my hand and said, I want to be an artist too. I said, then paint, don't wait. She nodded and ran off with a smile. Watching her go, I remembered myself. At 15, I loved painting too, but I ended up studying art history and working in auctions, never becoming an artist myself. I turned my own dream into helping others achieve theirs. Maybe that's just another way of painting, passing on beauty in a different form. That year, our roster of signed artists grew from dozens to over 300. At the end of year 4, we faced a major challenge. A big platform launched an online art auction service with massive traffic and rock bottom prices. Many artists jumped ship. We lost a third of our signed roster.
Maya, what do we do? Compete on price?
We can't compete on price. We compete on warmth.
Warmth?
Yes, they sell paintings. We sell people. I didn't lower prices, I raised our commission. Not the buyer's commission, but the artist cut. You'll take home more money than before. Because we don't do big platform traffic business, we do small, beautiful, deep collaborations. Some stayed, some left. I was disappointed, but I didn't blame them. Everyone has to make a living.
Maya, we trust you.
The ones who stayed, about 30 of them, said, Maya, we trust you. I believe the ones who stayed are the most precious.
In year 5, we hosted a Serena Ashford retrospective. Not an auction, just an exhibition. Nini lent us dozens of her mother's paintings. We held a month-long exhibition in a major museum. Opening night was packed. Mr. Hunter, who'd bought the painting, and all the family, we'd helped us over the years.
Today, Maya made it happen for her. Thank you, Maya.
I stood in the audience, tears streaming down my face.
Serena Ashford was one of the most underrated women artists of her generation. It wasn't that she wasn't good enough, it was that the era never gave her a chance.
The exhibition ran for a month, with over 10,000 visitors. Serena finally reached a wide audience.
My mother wanted more girls to paint. We can't let her down. In year 5, HerArt moved to a new office, not the tiny space we started with, but a whole floor with gallery space, storage, offices, and a lounge. Every piece seemed to glow. Hardly may go by was a web with a feed hung a city with bright sunshine, endless traffic. 5 years later, I had my own company, my own team, my own dreams.
Maya, there's a new artist coming in this afternoon. Do you want to meet her?
Yes, I'll meet her myself. In the afternoon, a young woman in her early 20s arrived. Ponytail, sketchbook on her back, visibly nervous. She showed me her work. They hiked of aloft in their own worlds, unconcerned with whether anyone was watching.
What's this one called?
No applause. It's my friends and me. We're all artists, none of us famous, but we're happy painting.
Would you sell it?
You want to buy it?
In year 6, HerArt reached a crossroads. We were helping more and more artists, but our resources were finite. Every painting required time. We didn't have enough people. I decided to open branches, not by ourselves, but through partnerships. Became a platform, Gulfridge and cultural Myanmar in New York with 5 community leaders. New York, Los Angeles, London, Paris, and Milan.
Each hub operated independently but shared the brand, the standards, and the resources. In the first year, platform sales exceeded $10 million, not huge but much bigger than I'd imagined.
Maya, have you thought about scaling up? More locations, bigger operations?
I have, but I'm afraid of losing our soul.
Losing our soul? What exactly are you afraid of losing?
I'm afraid of losing our original purpose, chasing numbers and forgetting the paintings themselves.
Maya, monetization itself is not wrong. Your principle is to help female artists gain attention. If this remains unchanged, what's wrong with growing and expanding?
I looked at her. She'd changed. I looked at Nina. She had changed.
After that conversation, I thought deeply about HerArt's positioning. I didn't want it to be a cold corporate platform. I needed to find a balance between commerce and conviction. I decided to do 2 things. First, maintain a portion for works with high artistic value but low young women artists. That way the profits from commerce would flow back into our mission.
To pranning insurmountable twos.
Maya, you're still the same Maya.
What? You still can't do the math, but you understand people.
That year, HerArt's revenue doubled. We funded 12 young women artists, several of whom later became our signed artists. I felt this model could sustain itself.
In year 7, I got a call from Mr. Blacknett. His auction house had been shut down after being investigated for multiple art fraud cases. His voice sounded much older.
Maya, I misjudged you. Were right. Those were shouldn't have women activists.
I didn't speak. I didn't know what to say.
Maya, I want to have fired you. I owe you that.
Mr. Blaugwen, I accepted your apology, but I can't accept it on behalf of the artists you cheated. You should apologize to them. He was silent. Then he hung up. Later, I saw Mr. Blaugwen on the news in prison clothes, head bowed, led into court by bailers, feeling calm. Not just a sense that finally, the universe had gotten something right. In year 7, HerArt did something big. We partnered with the country's largest online art platform to launch a full week exclusively showcasing to women artists. The platform provided traffic, we provided content. On day 1, traffic exceeded top 500,000. Many media outlets covered it. The head women's art, 5 million.
In an interview, a journalist asked me, "What do you think is the difference between women artists' work and men artists' work?" There's no difference. Art has no gender. But the market does. We're not here to put women artists above men. We're here so they don't get forgotten. You're very clear-headed. It's not that I'm clear-headed. It's that I've seen too much injustice.
In year 8, our signed artists exceeded 500. They came from everywhere, aged 20 to 70, professionals to passionate amateurs. Some sold for hundreds of thousands, some for just a few hundred, but I treated everyone with the same seriousness. There was a grandmother in her 70s who started painting after retirement. Her work was naive, but genuine. She painted the countryside of her memory, wheat fields, houses, kitchen smoke. Many people who saw her work said it made them homesick. Painting sold only a few $100s. She never thought anyone would want to buy her paintings. She thought her work was just making trash. But Grandma, you're not painting trash. You're painting memories.
She later had a small low exhibition and many people came. Standing in front of her work, she told the story behind every image. In that moment, she wasn't selling paintings, she was sharing her life. Not because it was valuable, because it reminded me that art's value isn't in its price, but in its connection.
In year 9, I made a hard decision. I transferred most of HerArt's equity to the team. Not because I didn't want any more, but because I wanted it to go further. A company that relies solely on its founder won't survive. The new CEO was Mia. She'd been with me for 8 assistant, from assistant to deputy manager, from general manager. She understood operations and management better than I did.
I was at peace. Mia, the company is yours now.
Maya, where are you going?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm still the founder, still the acquisition lead, still looking at every painting. I'm just stepping back from day-to-day operations.
Sister Maya, what will I do if you leave?
I'm not leaving. I'm right here. You can reach me anytime.
That yen, a collector from Ice grandpansling for a high price.
Okay.
With money she donated it half to the Serena Ashfield fees in. She is an old lady. She don't need that much. Let the young people wait more. In year 10, HerArt celebrated its 10th anniversary. We held a major exhibition called Them. It showcased 100 of the most representative works we'd auctioned over the decade. Beside each painting was a QR code. Nina, Amy, Fiona, Franny, and Granny Grace, pushed in her wheelchair. She was older now but plus unaroused but still spirited. Thank you, Maya.
Thunderous applause. I stepped onto stage and looked out at the faces. Some familiar, some not, but every pair of eyes held the light of being seen, of being recognized, of being loved. This decade hasn't been me achieving for you. It's been you achieving with me.
After the exhibition, I received a box. Inside was a paintbrush. The handle was enranked with 2 words, Maya. No signature, but I knew who it was from, the artists I'd helped. Each of them had contributed a little to have this brush custom made.
Maya, you helped us pick up our brushes, so we're giving you one. We hope you'll paint too.
I held that brush and cried. I'd never painted before, not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid I wouldn't be good enough. But now, I wanted to try. Not to sell, not to become famous, just to paint. For all those years, all those girls, all those stories. I bought a canvas, some paints, and an easel. I painted my first piece, simple. A girl standing by a window, sunlight on her profile. In her hand a brush with 2 words carved into it. Those 2 words were Maya.
Maya, it's actually good.
Don't lie to me.
I'm not lying. Your painting has warmth.
Warmth. That was the word I'd used to praise her work. Now she'd given it back to me. In the spring of year 11, I sat in the HerArt gallery. They were setting up a new exhibition. Mia was directing the installers, Amy adjusting the lighting, Fiona bringing her newest work. Granny Grace was being pushed slowly through the gallery in her wheelchair. Someone pushed the door open, a young girl with a sketchbook, nervously approaching the front desk.
Hi, I'd like you to auction my paintings.
Are you an artist?
My name is Lily Brooks. I've been painting for years, but no one's ever bought my work. I want to try.
Hi, I'm Maya. May I see your work?
She took the sketchbook off her back and handed it to me. I opened it. It was a painting of a girl on a stage, an enormous stage, empty seats, but the girl was dancing, completely absorbed, eyes closed, a smile on her lips.
What's it called?
The Lonely Dancer. It's me.
I looked at that painting for a long time. Then I looked up and met her eyes. Lily, welcome to HerArt. The Lonely Dancer eventually sold for $50,000. When Lily got the money, she was speechless.
Maya, I can rent a studio now. I won't have to paint on the balcony anymore.
Good. From now on, all your paintings come to us. She nodded hard. Watching her go, I remembered myself, the assistant who'd found unknown woman, the girl fired and lost, the Maya who'd borrowed money to raise her petal and been called crazy. I hadn't changed, still stubborn, still believing in the power of being seen. I just wasn't alone anymore. Granny Grace passed away. After she died, her family donated the painting back to the gallery. I always top when I pass that painting, not to mourn, to remind myself that what I do matters. In year 12, I received an invitation. The National Gallery was hosting a Century of Women's Art exhibition and HerArt was invited as a partner. I read, "Thank you for your contribution to women's art history." I held that invitation, my hands shaking, not from fear but from emotion. At the opening, I saw Serena Ashford's by the window hanging in the most prominent spot. Beside it, Serena Ashford, overlooked in her lifetime, rediscovered through HerArt.
Maya, my mother sees this.
She definitely does.
That night I had a dream. In it a woman stood before an easel, painting. She turned and smiled at me.
Thank you.
I didn't recognize her face, but I knew who she was. Serena Ashfield.
In year 13, I sat in the HerArt gallery. Sunlight streamed through the windows, falling across the paintings on the walls. Amy's latest work hung at the front, a stray cat stretching in the sun, its eyes bright as if smiling. New piece was a family, her children standing in a sunflower field, everyone smiling. She said it was her happiest year. And she held her first solo exhibition.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you, HerArt. You showed me I'm not fighting alone.
Mia had become an excellent CEO, running HerArt with skill, 5 city hubs and growing. She still asks me sometimes, Maya, am I doing this right?
You already know right from wrong. You just need someone to tell you can.
I sat in a corner of the gallery, flipping through a thick photo album, 10 years of memories, the first exhibition, first auction, the first signed artist, first city hub. Every photo was full of smiley faces. Many of those women didn't walk on their own, carving out their own place in the art world. But they still came back sometimes, with new painting, new stories, a pot of tea, talking, whenery rift such to like the windows warm on our shoulders. They say the art market is cruel. It recognizes fame, not talent, price, not value. But my friends and I are changing it, little by little. Maybe it's slow, maybe we won't see the full change in our lifetime. But every time one stands before a woman artist painting and really looks, really feels, that's change. Autumn of the 12th year, I met a special girl in the gallery art. Her name was Lena. She was 19, with cropped short, cargo pants on, and a tattered art bag and Sahas slung over her shoulder.
Is there anything I can do for you?
She shook her head, then nodded and pulled out a rolled painting bound with an elastic band from her art bag.
I'd like you to take a look at this painting.
The clerk led her to lounge. When I walked over, she sat on the sofa clutching a water cup so till tight turned porch of a young girl. The girl in the painted stood sideways by the window, with the hazy city skyline visible outside.
You painted this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Serena Ashford?
I do. I've studied her work. She's one of the very few artists who made me believe I could paint too. I want to paint, but my parents won't let me. They say I'm being ridiculous.
What do you plan to do then?
I don't know. But I still want to paint.
I sat down, picked up the painting on the table, and there was a pure and burning desire for creation hidden in this work. Would you like to intern here? We can't offer pay, but you'll have full access to our studio, and we'll supply all paints and canvas. That night was like send a message. Nina Young, it's my mother from years ago. Lena began painting every day at her art studio. She arrived earliest and left latest each day. One night I headed back to the office to grab some documents and spotted her curled up asleep in the studio corner. I didn't wake her. I left a sticky note beside her easel.
Maya, you were here late last night?
I've always been here. You were just too focused to notice.
She smiled. Her dream, she told me, was to paint 100 works about home. Not mere houses, but spaces brimming with warmth.
Why not?
But my parents say painting can't put food on the table.
What do you think?
I think if I stop painting, my heart will starve.
Then paint. Only a living heart can keep a person truly alive. Lena's parents stormed into her art one afternoon. A middle-aged couple pushed the door open furious, demanding to speak to the person who fled my daughter sit and poured 2 cups of future. I stood up.
Could have gotten into a top university. Why did you encourage her to give up formal schooling?
She hasn't abandoned learning. She's just chose a different path to learn.
What can painting possibly teach her?
Your daughter painted this. Look at this tree, deep roots, a wide crown. Doesn't it remind you of her? Lena's mother stared at the painting for a long time, lost in thought. She's made incredible progress in these 3 months. This isn't a fleeting hobby. She truly loves painting.
Maya, what did they say? They agreed to give you half a year. If you earn $10,000 from your art within 6 months, they won't stand in your way anymore.
On auction day, I sat with her in the exhibition hall from dawn till dusk, but stickled and tickled, and the pieces only climbed to around $400 each. Starting with the third painting, one anonymous accountly began competing relentlessly, outbidding every other buyer until prices hit $700 or $800 per work.
Who's buying all of these?
No idea. Looks like you'll owe me 10 paints instead of 10 meals. Lena and I picked 10 of her finest works for a mini-exclusive auction on HerArt's online platform, each starting at $300. Lena was so anxious, she lost sleep for 3 straight nights, messaging me in the wee hours. Maya, what if none of the paintings, then 10 paintings for me instead?
Maya, I actually did it.
You did. All on your own.
That autumn tree reminded me of my mother. I ended up bidding on several pieces.
How many did you buy?
4.
Are you gifting the rest away?
I kept 1 for myself. The other 3 I donated to fund her future exhibitions.
That was always Nina, quietly doing good without a word.
Lena's parents kept their word. They allowed her to keep painting, on the condition that she draft a clear career plan. She came to me for advice. You can sign on as a resident artist with HerArt if you'd like. At the same time, I suggest enrolling in professional painting workshops instead of university. Talent is only a starting point. Technique needs constant refining.
A year later, Lena held her first solo exhibition at the Community Art Gallery, titled Home. 24 paintings in total, all centered on the meaning of home: old cottages, kitchen lamplight, balcony blossoms, cats curled on window sides. Far more visitors showed up than she'd anticipated. One guest left a note in the guest book. After viewing these paintings, all I want is to want home. On the closing day of the exhibition, an elderly woman took Lena's hands gently.
Child, your painting stove by the window is exactly what my childhood home looked like.
The woman purchased the piece, and Leica later said it was the work she hated parting with most. Still, she understood paintings belong with those who really understand them. Watching Lena grow brought back memories of my younger self. 11 years prior, I'd stood at the exact same crossroads. Everyone warned me, painting earn how long can you work as an auction assistant? A young girl shouldn't chase such reckless dreams. Yet I chased them anyway. I'd encountered Serena Ashfield's art, met Nina, and met countless people who convinced me every step was worthwhile. In the spring of the 13th year, I handed over all daily operations of HerArt to Mia and stepped back into the background. I started painting not gallery-reading exhibition pieces, but art solely for myself. One evening after work, I sat alone in the studio and painted a small canvas, a young girl bathed in sunlight, holding up an auction pellet. It wasn't a standard auction tag. Scrolled across it was a single word, worth it. I snapped a photo and sent it to Nina. Her reply was one short word, keep it. I framed the painting and hung it in the quietest corner of my office. Whenever visitors asked who painted it, I'd simply say it was a young artist's work. That whole afternoon I talked with UT Sneti Vranar Azolpio and St. Granot studying in Artokuli, humming gritting the pokak.
Aunt Maya, thank you. Thank you for Regia for her.
I was only the first of it.
She smiled.
So many others of Windows have lifted their ponables too. Your mother every soul touch sideways face with art and use.
100 years later, she'd finally been seen. I pulled out the old file folded once more. She was no longer just faded dollars. But and now she had a name, a staring out at descendant the sunlight a living dollar or beat this pedestrian work. I can't mail the first sets down the foldem art brush. The canvas blank just like an unopened window. I dipped the brush into the paint and laid down the first stroke. HerArt has opened its 11th branch in Tokyo, while I stayed behind at our original gallery in Chicago waiting for someone. A young girl walked in, stood in the middle of the hall and looked up at the rows of paintings on the
May
wall.
I assist you? I'm Serena Ashfield's granddaughter.
I froze. Nina had never once mentioned having children.
Hello? May I assist you?
Didn't my mom Nina tell you? She wanted to surprise you. The girl pulled a drawing out of her sketchbooks and unfolded it. It was a copy of the window. She finished painting this long before I was even born, yet she claimed she knew exactly what I would grow up to look like. She gestured to her own face. The curve of her cheek matched the woman in by the window almost identically.